Okay, so I'm working on this bird of prey at the moment. I've started this film a bit late, really. Somebody mentioned that I should film it, so I thought, okay, I will. But it's made out of a V section, so a fork in a tree. So at the moment I'm just rough carving stuff with the chainsaw. I'm just trying to work and get a lovely sort of natural flow with the wings and the feathers, just to give you an idea of how things are going with it. And then once I've got it, the majority of the saw work done, I'll then get it into the workshop. So I'm tilting the head here. It looks pretty rough at the moment, but I've got to leave a lot of stuff on there just to work it back in more detail. But I'm angling the head downwards and off to one side, just because there wasn't enough space. There was a lot of bark on here. You can see all the sapwood, which I think looks rather lovely if I can preserve it. You've got this lovely contrast of the green and the white. It almost wants to be a mini bald eagle just because it's got this lovely white colour around the head. So yeah, I'll film the progress of it, and I'll have the feet perched on something onto the base, and then the tail is pointing down a long way, just to again fit the bird into the piece of wood. It's almost got to squeeze your bird into a box to get it to work with what you got. But these forks are brilliant for these open-winged birds of prey, and I am certainly going to be keeping my eye open for more. I might even approach other foresters and get these forks, because they look superb for a wing, an open-winged bird of prey. So I've now brought the bird into the workshop. I've done most of the chainsaw carving, just showing you where I'm marking some lines with charcoal. These are just marking the sections of where the primary wing tip feathers will line up. So they would start from the base of that joint where I put those lines. I then halve them, so there's 5 and 5. So it's 5 slightly smaller ones, 5 larger wingtip feathers. So mark those out, and we'll mark them now on the end of the wing and join them together. And we'll mark out there's another 10 feathers on the inner part, the inner section, the inner joint of the wing. So I'll mark those out as well. And it just helps before you commit and start carving something into the wood, and then you realise, hang on a minute, that's a little bit out of place. It definitely helps to mark stuff out in with chalk or whatever it is that you're using. So that's going to be the first feather. So I'll run that line out to the tip. But yeah, you get what I mean anyway. So, and then I'll just do the same on the tips as well. So roughly space where I want them, and then you've got something to work with before you are committed to carving.
Okay, so those are the lines. They'd be the lines of the quill, basically. It doesn't have to be dead on, but it just gives you a rough idea. Getting everything evenly spaced.
Okay, so now carved more detail into the feathers. You can see I've kind of added bend and a flex to the tips of them. Try and give that natural flow. And so I'm just showing a compilation now of progressive photos, really. Of each time I take a layer away, then I use different tools and go in for finer and finer detail each time. A lot of these feathers under the wing were carved out with a combination of chisels and finger sanders, and then some Dremel work around the edges of the feathers. Okay, I've got to a certain point on the bird now where I've cut it off from the base, and I've drilled a couple of holes in the legs, and I've inserted some 12mm threaded rod, which are going to be the legs, and they are then they've been sat on this sandstone. So I've drilled into the sandstone, and those threaded rods go in about 8 inches. So it's going to be very, very solid. So the next thing is now to hide where it's been drilled into the wood, and also hide where it's been drilled into the sandstone. So to do that, I'm actually making these metal feet, which you've seen me do in the past. In fact, that small one there is why it's one I made earlier, which is I've kept it, and it was the wrong size. So I just keep it as an example. But those little feet are normally made. They're welded onto a coach screw. Um, so you can see that there. So they're easily used. It's normally just to use as an effect, really, to look like the bird's grabbing something if it's in flight as a relief carving. But with obviously what we're doing with this piece is slightly different. So I'm cutting these toes also out of 12mm threaded rod, and yeah, I shape them with an angle grinder. I cut. I actually use a cutting disc to do most of the work, and you probably see that line there on that toe, and that's where I've actually cut into the metal work, and then it just allows me to bend it a little bit more. Just adds a bit more movement to it. And then I will backfill that cut with a very hot, fast weld to keep it strong. So yeah, I've got one more toe to make on this foot, but it just gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. Yeah. Okay, so I've made all the toes, and I've welded this in situ because I wanted it all to look right, and this is why I didn't wait until I'd completed all the carving because I would have burnt the wood with all the welding that I was doing. I apologise for the rubbish filming of this bit. I don't know what I was on, but it was pretty good, whatever it was. Um, so I probably just saw a mole grip appearing. So that's how I managed to get the earth uh, cable to connect because there wasn't enough space. So you just click an old mole grip onto the leg, and then clip the earth wire off of your welder onto there. So I just had to carefully I had leather gloves on, hold the toe on, whilst I welded it on there. And those legs, the metal legs go up into the wood about, I don't know, 6 inches or so, I suppose. So, they're going to be very secure, and it's oak as well. So I can take more wood off of the legs, to put in the finer detail, make it look more realistic. So what I'm going to do now, next thing is, you could see is, they're on there, but it's pretty untidy. And I'm going to need to fill in some of the gaps as well and just build up the metalwork. Also make the legs a bit thicker so that they marry up with the woodwork nicer and just look truer to how the feet would look. So I'm going to whip this off now, and I'll do some more welding on the feet. I've had people ask for tutorials about welding the feet. When I have filmed it in the past, all you can see really is blinding light. So I don't really see much of a point. There's so many tutorials on welding. I mean, what I would say is threaded rod is cheap as anything. The only advice I would give is cut all your toes to start off with. Do one foot first that you're happy with, and then cut all your toes for the next foot exactly the same size. I've made that mistake in the past. That's how I ended up with that spare um, foot that really wasn't, didn't work with anything that I wanted at the time. Um, so yeah, definitely do that. And in fact, I think I made those, or I've made some feet recently for something else, where I pretty much make one toe at a time, and then I'll copy that toe for the next foot, um, and then it looks, it marries up much better. So yeah, that's important. Okay, so the feet are now completed. I'm now just going to heat treat them, temper them to give them purpley and bronze colours. I just think they look so much better for doing that. Just looks a bit too bright and silvery, um, and it will just blend in better with the finished bird. You can also see that I've built up the metalwork around the legs as well, so that it just blends in. You don't actually see anything above that widest point of the leg. Um, and then once this is done, I'll let these feet cool down, and I'll spray them with some lacquer, and I'll just keep the moisture off of them. It should prevent it from rusting. Okay, as the wood dried, this crack appeared. I'm not surprised, so I've had to fill it with a very strong wood filler. Um, I think it's made by Ronsil, a chemical based one, and it's worked brilliantly.